lacks local split screen. Bleh, what I like to call, or the currently lacks local split. Without the real names. That isn't even a sentence. I've spent a lot of time playing this. No. I've spent all right, let's start from the beginning. Start from the top here. Today we are looking at iRacing Arcade, a game that's been out for about a month now, and I've spent a good amount of time playing on my own and with my kids. It's an enjoyable arcade racer with a lot of positives, but it also has some frustrating elements and missing features that need to be addressed. The game is currently on sale on Steam for $19.99 but costs $25 regularly. There's also a demo you can try before buying. Here's my full review. iRacing is a brand usually associated with hardcore simulation racing. iRacing Arcade, developed by Original Fire Games, takes the opposite approach. It's a family-friendly, accessible arcade racer. Let's start with the positives. The game is genuinely fun to play. The core racing mechanics work well, and the art direction is excellent. The miniature cars and tracks look great and fit the arcade racer style perfectly. But the biggest selling point for me, however, is the real track licensing. It might seem unnecessary for a cartoon-style arcade racer game to use real tracks and cars, but coming from someone who spends hours on iRacing in my sim rig, it makes a significant difference for me. I enjoy games like Formula Legends, which is a solid F1 style arcade racer, but I normally find myself choosing iRacing Arcade over Formula Legends because of the lack of official licenses in Formula Legends. It just copies the styles and settings of tracks and teams without using the actual real names. With iRacing Arcade, all but 2 of the tracks are officially licensed real-world circuits. Even though the graphics are cartoony, I'm still learning or have knowledge of the actual layouts of the tracks, like Imola or Tsukuba. Being able to drive licensed tracks in a casual setting and talk about turns and sectors, especially with my kids, is a highly desirable feature. It is worth noting that the car licensing is more limited. While you do get official cars like the Fiat 500, the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car, and with the latest update, the Caterham, the rest of the launch roster consists of fictional or generic designs. However, they do all work very well and fit into the game. I also surprisingly enjoyed the campus building feature in career mode. You use in-game currency to build and upgrade facilities like garages and engine shops. It doesn't drastically change the game in any way, it mostly just unlocks power-ups for career races, but it provides a satisfying progression loop between events. Despite the fun gameplay, iRacing Arcade has several notable flaws. First is the multiplayer system. The time attack mode is fine, but the online multiplayer is pretty restrictive. There's no public matchmaking or server browsing. You can just play online by creating a private room and share a join code with your friends. In a modern competitive racing game, the inability to easily join a random public lobby for an online competitive event is a major negative. Furthermore, the PC version currently lacks local split screen multiplayer. Because I am a gamer that experienced my formative gaming years in the 90s, it is my opinion that for an arcade racer, couch co-op is a fundamental feature. The developers have stated that split screen will be added when the game releases on consoles later this year, but its absence at launch is pretty disappointing for me. Career mode also has some confusing omissions. The most obvious is the lack of qualifying. Races just start with a predetermined grid. Most of the time you are in the back, but sometimes you're not for some reason. You can enable qualifying in free play, so the feature exists in the game, but for some reason it was left out of the career progression, which I think is a major negative. The power-up system in career mode is also problematic. As you upgrade your campus, you unlock boosts to use during races. Instead of adding strategy, these power-ups you get to choose from are kind of confusing as to which one you actually get and which ones you don't get, and often unbalanced, which I think detracts from the actual racing. Finally, the game is just light on content. There's only a few cars and a few tracks available at launch, and you will likely see everything the game has to offer relatively quickly. I played for about a month and I'm already level 20, which is the highest level you can get for upgrading your campus and opening up all the racing series in the career mode. And I feel like the general gaming community will agree that the game content is light at launch, but for $25, it's a pretty good deal. So in summary, iRacing Arcade is a fun, accessible racing game with great art and the distinct advantage of featuring licensed real-world tracks and cars. If you want a casual game to play with your kids while still learning actual track layouts, it's worth the $25 price tag. However, the lack of public multiplayer matchmaking, the missing couch co-op feature on PC, the absence of career mode qualifying, and the thin amount of content prevent it from being a complete package. It is, however, a good foundation, and I'm sure it will be updated to reach its full potential, but it's not quite there yet. If this was a full-priced game, I would have to recommend you wait to purchase, but given that it's only $25 right now, $19.99 on sale, I think it's well worth the purchase despite all of its faults. If you already own it and play it, do you agree with me? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I won't see you on the track unless you send me your join code while it's up, somehow, maybe in the comments. I don't know. Like and subscribe.